you about sports skills or life skills. As I was seated there, I wasn't warned that I would actually be the last person, and so always you're thinking, how am I going to do this? Is it going to be a proper closure, or are they going to be thinking, and the last guy, that's the one that just messed it up. It was just so fine. So what do I have to say about all these wonderful things that I've heard today? The first thing that I'm going to warn you is that in my presentation there won't be any boxes. I saw a lot of boxes before, all these nice boxes and arrows. I have nothing like that. And so it's totally different where I'm coming from. And what I'm just hoping is that I can just engage with you. I can just explore with you some areas that I don't think are fairly discussed within the realm of coaching, especially in this country. And yet there's so much opportunity. I come from a former British colony. I come from Zambia. And in Zambia, we've been challenged left, right, and center with problems that are so enormous. One of them is the HIV/AIDS problem, where we have, like in the capital city of Lusaka, where I come from, the past few years, we've had young people aged between 15 and 19 dying. We're talking about 200 people dying every day. So we don't get that captured in the media, but it's almost like a plane crashing in that city every day. And as a person who's coming from a coaching background, such as yourselves, I've been in this field I thought I was born a coach, actually. But I've been working around, coaching in basketball, football. I did a bit of boxing. So I grew up in Zambia, did part of my education in Norway, part of my education in Canada. I'm in this country working. And my passion has been, how can we use sport as, an intervention in trying to address social problems? How can we situate sport as part of it? How can we move sports from being indifferent? Is it possible? And the best people to answer that question are the coaches. If we have to think from a very sociological point of view, and I'm sorry to sound quite early to start using terms like that, but if we have to think of working from a functionalist point of view, where we're saying within society, a school has a role, a church or a mosque has a role, a family has a role, my question then is, what is the role of sport within that? I come from a rich tradition of stories. Stories and riddles and metaphor, analogies. That's how we learn it back in Africa. So my mom had a metaphor for all the mistakes that I made, and she could just tell me in so many ways how stupid I was. And sometimes I could agree with her because I didn't understand the problem. But my point is that we come from a very rich tradition of stories, and we use story to try and embed our coaching. So we use a lot of that kind of tradition in the way we deliver our coaching. So I have a story for you, and I think I need to capture you very early with this story. This is a story of a young person by the name of X. Now X, I am standing, and this is based on a true story, I'm standing at the graveyard of X. X is age 17, was a gifted football player. And as we are going through the prayers, we've gone through the whole funeral program, and I'm heading back home now. I ask myself the question, before we got to where we are burying X, what happened to X? Can I make a retrogressive story about X before here? That's one question I ask. The second question is, in that retrogressive story about X, where would I place myself as a coach? A little bit more background about X. X died of HIV/AIDS. And HIV/AIDS has to do with behaviors around, sexual behavior. HIV/AIDS has to do about deprivation. So I asked myself the question then, if X had passed through my team, or if X had been through one of my coaching programs, what would have been my role? It might not be as severe as HIV/AIDS for you, but I think I want you to start thinking about that. And I'm going to use that as a starting point to start engaging with you as we move forward. So that my question then for my presentation will be to explore life skills-based sports coaching. And some of the questions I'll be asking with you, hopefully, is what are the real life challenges our players face? My player was faced with HIV/AIDS, and HIV/AIDS took him out too early. Gifted young man. What skills did X not have? And what could I have done to help X out of that situation? I'll go through some quick definitions and principles of what I'm trying to talk about. We'll, quickly go into some discussions around behavior change and what I think a life skills-based coaching program should embed. I'm not going to allow you to get into the debate of whether we should be doing life skills-based, because I don't think that's a good debate. I think we do it. Because Martin Luther said, sometimes indifference is the worst offense. We actually do it, whether we like it or not, by making a decision to say, I'm not going to ask this boy where he comes from. He's a good footballer, that's what I need to worry about. He comes from the council estate, there's drugs there, I'm not going to be involved in that. Well, that's a decision of involvement. That's a decision of involvement, not to be involved. That's what you've decided. But my question then is, even that decision, where are you coming from with that kind of decision? Why do you arrive at that decision? So I'll take it at this point that we are all moving and assuming that we do engage with this issue at one level or the next. And that's how we're going to progress with that. So if you just sit with the person sitting next to you, if you can just sort of like recollect a story that you want to share with us, a very quick one about a participant that you've known has been challenged with one life issue. Is it drugs? Was it teenage pregnancy? Hello? We're close to Southampton here. The world's capital city. Right? So, do you have anyone that you know that has come through your system? And what was their story? Did you know their story? And I believe you do. If you don't know, I've heard a story. And I just wanted to hear very quick stories about that. If you could just, with the person sitting next to you, recollect, was it this child suffering issues around drugs? Was it issues around violence? Was it suicide? What was it that this player was struggling with, was troubled with? Fascinating story I got here. I'm not sure I have the rights to share it. Then I have to cite it. In academia, then it has to be 2011, and I have to get the name and where it happened and all that, and the publishers as well. Do you want to just share with us a little bit, just very briefly?
I was talking about one of the players in my stadium side, who he's about 24, and he has an awful temper, which comes out on the pitch in different ways. He's a good player. He has an alcohol problem, and within the last 12 months, he's become a father by accident, if you like, which problem, particularly as a young mother I had. So there's a deprivation area there. And the issue that I was talking to the doctor about was that because there's a big age gap between us, he uses me, if you like, as a sounding board and a father figure. That sounds awful, but it's true. And I found the best way of dealing with him is to let him unload, and then calm it down, and then talk it through. And then even on the field, with the field, I can pull him off the field for a while and calm him down. And I think it's the age gap that does it. Their background isn't good. I think you tend to find yourself as a coach. And I find it with school side and stuff as well. They're really looking for an adult to talk to unload, not necessarily to come up with a real answer, but someone who listens. That can stretch you as a coach, as well as providing them with some relief. It's a difficult scenario at the time. But what do you say? And a lot of it has to come from here, I think.
Thank you very much. Any other story you want to share with us? Yeah, go ahead, go for it.
I think a really good one as well. Just on the back of that, looking at the primary school basically, which I'm more involved in, looking at a national problem in terms of not enough male role models in primary school. A lot of our coaches, in particular in Leigh, we have one of the top 3% deprived areas in Leigh, where some of our coaches are male, going to a full female staff school, and there'll be a number of children in that school who have no male role models in their life whatsoever. As a single parent family, they also live with the sister or the mother, and that's it. So there's a real both role as a coach, as a male coach in this school, to be that male role model.